House Intelligence Committee, one of the committees whose members will no longer be getting these in-person election briefings from ODNI. Congressman Swalwell, it's nice to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
You too. Thank you, Rachel.
I feel like these stories are coming together in a way that is a little bit unnerving, both in terms of what we know, but also what we deliberately don't know, what hasn't been investigated, and now what Congress won't be allowed to ask questions about. Are you worried that this is going to materially change what Congress knows, what you know about what's going on with this election?
Yes, but we're not helpless, Rachel, and Chairman Schiff is leading us in our own counterintelligence investigation on the committee. We are pursuing the Deutsche Bank records, of course, so we understand the president's personal, political, and financial relationship with Russia. But with this president, as you know, corruption is a reflex. And in 2016, while the Russians were trying to corrupt our democracy and the intelligence community was playing catch-up, Donald Trump wasn't. He has corrupted individuals, he has corrupted our democracy, and he continues to corrupt information. And so what we must do is to put in place the guardrails to protect this upcoming election, and then in a post-Trump world, make sure we put back in place everything that his corrupt wrecking ball has caused damage to.
In terms of whether we're going to have a post-Trump world anytime soon, I know that a lot of the Intelligence Committee's information is stuff that you can't discuss publicly, but we have heard reference, particularly from Democrats on the Senate Intelligence Committee, that the information about current foreign interference efforts in 2020 is quite serious stuff, and is not just a replay of 2016, as alarming as that was. There's new information, and it is something that requires significant national vigilance. Can you tell us if you share that impression, and if there is anything that the public ought to know that you feel like we don't otherwise have our arms around?
Yes, the American people must know what the Russians are trying to do. This president is not worthy of being reelected without without a plan for COVID. He has no plan for COVID, and he cannot win an election without Russian interference or sabotaging the mail or conveying misinformation and inciting violence. And so instead, we are left with his ODNI, the Director of National Intelligence, putting out these conflating threats that you have China and Iran and Russia all trying to meddle in our election, when the evidence shows that there's just one country that has a preference for Donald Trump, that is trying to tear down Joe Biden, has a prior in the past, has greater scope, capability, and intent than any of the other countries, and that's Russia. There's a lot more I wish I could say about that, but the president and his team are trying to keep it from the American people.
This news about John Ratcliffe, the current DNI, saying that he's no longer going to brief Congress about any foreign election interference between now and the election comes on the heels of Robert Draper reporting in the New York Times Magazine a couple of weeks ago that both of Trump's previous directors of national intelligence, both Dan Coats and Joseph McGuire, were both fired after refusing basically to go along with the president's line on Russia. Dan Coats was fired after he refused to lie to the public about a judgment that Russia had favored Trump in the 2016 election. Joseph McGuire was fired after his deputy briefed Congress about Russia's inclinations in the 2020 election. Now, clearly, there's a new director of national intelligence who wants to not get fired for the same reason. I wonder if this means that the Office of the Director of National Intelligence is something in which you've lost confidence. Should the ODNI still exist? Is Ratcliffe making decisions here that call into question whether he's the right man for that job?
Well, the office has been used to weaponize intelligence. And in fact, over the weekend, Director Ratcliffe said that China is the greatest threat, which does not match what we have been briefed on privately and what people have been let go for, in public reporting at least, for telling the congressional committees. Look, Rachel, we must make sure that we receive unvarnished intelligence assessments from intelligence officials. And right now, that is not what we are receiving. They are really playing to an audience of one, the president, and not the American people. We have 65 days to go. This is our last chance. With the president who is the first impeached president to run for re-election, the first president who's probably facing criminal charges if he is not re-elected, is willing to do anything to win and will sacrifice any value that we all treasure to do so. And so we must get it right in Congress, but your viewers are not helpless either. They have to ask themselves, what are they willing to do to save their country? I hope it's at least being willing to vote, and I hope more than that, it's being willing to ask others to vote as well.
Congressman Eric Swalwell of California, member of the Intelligence Committee. Sir, thanks for your time tonight. It's nice to see you.
My pleasure. Thanks, Rich.